entering 37. We have a bunch of cards. First of all, there's two key events. First one is the Russell resolutions. It's a neutral event. Either player can play it. If the this is complex, the interaction. If the external influence track favors the loyal player, which it does not right now, then there would be a number X of how far it is on that track, and the Patriot will get a Patriot cube in X rural counties that have Patriot organizations. The Patriot also gets X opportunity points, but the loyal player gets X victory points. And if that number X is greater than 4, the rebellious spirit goes up by 1. Otherwise, the Patriot gets 4 victory points, moves this card from the opportunity pool. So right now, this is 4 quick victory points that I could trigger. I may not want to go first to do this, but the problem is, if the EI can be moved, that would be dangerous, and I don't know if it can, so I may actually want to go first just for this. Now, this one can only be played after the Russell resolutions has been played, and this remains as a prerequisite for events, as does this. Now, remember, this removes this one from the pool, so it never gets played if I trigger what happens. What this would do is 2 cubes to Richelieu. I don't really need that there except for my overwhelming support, which can give me some additional victory points. Then go through the scoring sequence in a track of my choice, which might be the organizations. Anything else would probably hurt me. And then if the external influence advantage marker is 3, 4, or 5 in favor of the loyalists, it would fall back to only a 2, which is the starting position. Anyway, I'm going to look at the Patriot players' cards and make a decision. This is very appealing, though, because I will get 4 victory points, which, again, that starts swinging this. We're getting close to the end here. Neat stuff's happening. Okay, the Patriots do have some interesting cards which might be able to accelerate this up to the game end position. That's appealing. I don't think they can do it directly, but I am going to fire this off by paying 2. Okay, so I get 4 victory points. And then this is gone. But this resolution is in play, and I think this is for the rest of the game, basically. So I'm going to put it up here. If I see anything about the resolutions, I hope I remember. I put us here. That'll bring it to the loyalists. Loyalists. I'm going to play this for the event. Oh shit. I forgot to roll the orc die. Okay. And I'll play this for the event. Add 1 cube to 2 rural counties. In particular here, I'm looking for a couple of things. One is to increase mobilization values so that I can get war readiness, but I also kind of want to get orgs in place. So I'll look to see if there's anywhere where I'm competing. There really isn't. So I'm definitely going to put one here. This doesn't give me any points on the track. That's the only problem. 4, 5, 6. 6 is 7, 8 is not a great mobilization number. Okay, I guess. And then I get a rural counties roll. And it is a rural counties play. Alright. It's a generic card. Alright. Okay. This doesn't look very likely that I'm going to get Quebec up there, so I'm going to play 4 of these. Now, I've got a particular card which helps in a place called Chambly that I have to find. It's over here. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now I got one more chip that I can play. Put it somewhere else. Put it here and cancel out one of his. And that gets me an org roll, which is part of the advantage here, is the org chart is in my favor right now, and it might not be. But instead I get an EI, which is also in my favor. So I get a victory point there and swing this back. Unless they're going to play this, the event Sons of Liberty Society has not been played. I'm going to play this to put a partisan media in play. Because I've got a card I want to double play. Big 6-point card. I figure that's worthwhile. I don't want the rebellious spirit to boil over. So I'm not going to be buying that. I could buy this at some point, but anyway, that's going to give them a point. Remember this time the Patriots went first. That's the beauty of what I was going to do. I'm going to play this 6 action points and adds 2 to the rebellious spirit. The game is almost ready to end. Okay. Now, Chambly is important to me still. I gotta look at it and figure out. So right now, it's a mobilization check for it. So it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I think that's only for organizations that happens. Yeah, it's not a normal mobilization check that it affects. So the card I'm looking at is a +4 mobilization check in Chambly. So we would just check Chambly, so that would be an 8. 8, yeah, I have some flexibility, but I would like to up some other things. So, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. In both cases, that raises the rural counties by 1. I'm not going to get a lot out of that. And then here's the exciting thing: the +2 rebellious spirit. The Patriots, the Loyalists can't control that. And now we have an UC roll, which comes up as UC, so it doesn't do anything too exciting. And that puts it back on the Loyalists. I'm going to fire off my event here, which gets me the 6 and this. Let me take care of this one first. 2 cubes in Quebec. This doesn't really do me much. And then remove a Patriot cube from Quebec. That doesn't get me that much, so I don't know if I wanted to do it, but I have to fire these things off. I might as well get more advantage out of it. But the other thing I wanted to do is some mobilization checks here. And those checks are for my orgs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me just make sure. Yep, that's all I'm getting. There's no modifiers there, so that's a 9. We'll try it. Ooh, that's not good. I'm going to have to spend 3 opportunities now. I believe if I fail a mobilization check... See, this is the thing. If I fail organizational mobilization checks, I can't do any others. But what if I fail other mobilization checks? I don't see volunteer corps. I flipped the organization. Oh, there's a lot to this. This could end the game. Shit. I didn't realize that. Uh-oh. Wow. I'm probably not wanting to do this, but okay. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'll spend 3 of these options. You know what? I mean, I've already rolled. Yeah. I should have been paying attention to what I'm doing. I'll spend 3 to put one of these in there. Oh boy. Okay. By succeeding, this flips over. I can't do it again. And now on a 4 or more, the rebellious spirit goes up by 1. Yeah. Okay, so the game is going to end right after my action round. So now I have some more. I have 4 more points that I can throw in. Now, this is going to score, and I'm not going to get any bonus off of it because that's set up. That's the problem. I can't move the urbans. I probably can't move an org easily. The orgs are worth 2 points each. This thing is only worth 1 each. So, yeah, I'm going to go for an org if I'm set up well with one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not very good. Why was this so high? Okay, so we were looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to go for an org here. Because I think I get more points off orgs than I do off putting troops in the war readiness box. That was an error. 8, 9, 10, 11, I got to spend 2 ops. And I get another org. Down here. And that moves the org box. And what else? I might go with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. I'll go for the org again. This is an 8, I believe I said. So that's 3 more ops points. I hope these aren't worth a victory point at the end or something. I don't think they are. But sometimes games have these weird secrets in them. And that drops the org value back down. I think I've lost by pushing this out there. There's a UC die roll. And instead it's an RC, which pushes it here. This might help me because we're going to score now, where this happens. And that generates 2 victory points and goes back here. But now we hit the final scoring for the game. I sure hope the fear of reprisal comes in on that final scoring, or else it's even worse. So I believe it follows the whole sequence. Hey, you learn things when you play a game, right? Things sneak up on you. Okay, let's find the end of game sequence. Victory point track measures, okay, so the game has reached this. You go through the scoring sequence for each, you award war readiness, and whoever's ahead wins. And this is the first thing on the list, so even if something else, like somebody had reached 20 victory points, it wouldn't be over. It would essentially be over, but okay. So, each scoring track we do. First, the RC track. Well, we do have to deal with this now, and that is at +4 on the table. And I got a big 10. That means I'm going to get rid of 10 of the Patriot cubes. And notably, they were not able to play their overwhelming support track, which would have given them some points for a couple of places. They wanted to run those places up a little higher. They weren't able to do that. So there are some advantages to what I did. So after the fear of reprisal table, and I just recounted it, I was right the last time I scored, and I'm right now. So that's cool. So that's going to be 3 victory points for... Ooh, this does not look good. That's so far ahead. 3 victory points for the Loyalists. I mean, this may have been the best they could do. Organizations, nobody scores anything. EI, that's going to be 1 for them. UC, nobody scores anything. And now we add these, and I've got 5 to 2. That's 3 more in favor, but it's still on the left side of the victory point chart. So the Patriots win. And boy, this ended up a lot shorter than I expected. I did not expect it to boil over right there until I saw the cards for the turn. Otherwise, I wouldn't have loaded up the other thing, but you know. So the game can definitely pull some surprises on you, especially if you don't know what you're doing to begin with, which probably doesn't seem too unreasonable. Beyond that, what can I say? You know, I mean, I feel like I'm blundering about trying to learn the game, etc. Very much like I didn't feel as much blundering in something like Twilight Struggle because I'm familiar with the story already. I know what I'm going to be doing, and I could be reading these cards and gaining a lot more information. Sometimes I do to myself, just to understand what's going on. The plan that these guys had was to trigger the ending as well, and they had this, which would have done it. The problem was I kind of stumbled into the ending here. This should not have happened the way it did. And the fact that it did happen the way it did was kind of a oops, right? And if I hadn't already rolled the dice, I certainly could have reversed it. And I almost did anyhow, simply because it looked clear to me that the Loyalists had fallen behind. But what's really interesting is, first of all, the Loyalists were winning the game at the beginning of the game, and they looked like they were way ahead when we hit the midpoint of the game. This is not how my reading of what other people's comments have been is at all a normal circumstance for the game. Normally it seems to be that the Patriots take an early lead, and then the question is, you know, is that early lead able to be beaten down? And that's similar. Twilight Struggle has the communists get an early lead in the game and have an opportunity to win the game early. And the point of it becomes, you know, once you get kind of used to the game, how to mitigate that early lead. Obviously, though, with the randomization of the deck or whatever, I may be getting a very, very different experience out of this play than is common. And that's one of the things I kind of like, you know. I like the fact that it generates a different storyline each time. I find the map with all these tracks, again, difficult to assess and understand. You know, the tracks are very easy to see in each individual, but I like my maps to feel more area-based. Now, I've definitely gotten used to games that work more with tracks and stuff like that. Things like Empires of the Middle Ages that I'm able to cope with this on. I just doubt that I'm going to be able to play this enough times, given my age, the amount of games that are coming out nowadays that are interesting and innovative, etc., to get that kind of sort of comfort with the representation that I got over Empires of the Middle Ages, which took a while probably to acquire. I don't remember it being terribly hard, but I do remember thinking, hey, like, your area based with pieces in it and stuff like that a little better. But, that game, at least you have colors of who controls what. Here, you just have these bars. I feel like I'm playing the kind of spreadsheety computer games that I like, which isn't a problem. It's just I have to put it through another layer of filtering to understand what's going on. I don't know. That doesn't really impact this. I'm trying to think of, there's just so many decisions to make and everything, and I think most of this is really meant for the review, or most of the discussion that I can think of should go more in the review. But I definitely felt myself handcuffed in terms of wanting to do different things. Sometimes the cards don't give you what you want. Sometimes you have too many options, and you've got to pick one and go with it. A lot of challenging decision making to go with it. I have to say, though, the subject matter and the representation between them make this a little bit more distant than I would like it to be. Maybe if it linked, maybe if one of them hit better with me, like if this was something in a historical era I knew and understood better, I could evaluate the board more easily. Or if it was an era, or if it was this period, but the board better showed me something. Although I don't know what it's really, it seems to be showing how much support, how polarized these regions are. So like this is an exceedingly polarized region. This one, but all to one direction. This one is contested, but exceedingly polarized. But then you come over, here, nobody really gives a shit, How does that make a difference? What does it do? Well, that's played out in the cards, in some of the capabilities. So, for example, the ability for overwhelming support means because I've got so much support here, it doesn't matter that there's a lot of loyalist support. This has reached the boiling point where those additional victory points come into play, whereas a place like this is just, these places are just so quiet that nobody's really pushing one direction or the other, even though here there's a definite divide. This is filled up. It's complete. And in fact, you could get the same thing here, where the Lower Canada activists, the patriots for Lower Canada is, I guess, what it is, as opposed to the loyalists to the crown. Where there would be enough activity here that even though there was a loyalist majority, it's still enough to push it over. That seems a little weird, but whatever. All right. Trying to use up time on this, but there's only so much I can say. I can't say a hell of a lot about the play because for me it was very opportunistic, based on the cards, based on what you have. Yes, you have some general basic strategic goals perhaps, but being a first play, it was hard to find those and to really, define those for myself. And then also, they get battered around so much just by, hey, you got a random hand of cards, I don't mind that. I enjoy that kind of game. It's just, it is a less strategic sort of play than you would see in the kind of, like the thing I did before, the Mississippi Fortresses, where I can plot out broader thoughts and handle them in different sorts of ways. Well, it sounds like my voice is shot, so it doesn't hurt or anything. It just goes out like that. Bill Clinton had that happen on the campaign trail. For me, I have to get a virus for it.